Good afternoon. Or is it evening now? Afternoon still. Yeah. So I'm the one standing between you and dinner. So I'll make it brief. Okay. We've had a wonderful day today. With Shalini and with Minister Richie, and now I know somebody asked questions about feedback on when you get rejected. How they give you any feedback? Do you know what you went wrong or whatever like that? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Like Dwayne mentioned, I worked many years in the banking industry, so I was the bad cop. Okay, I was the one on the other side, but now I'm a good cop, trying to help you. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an insight into the minds of bankers and why, when you think you have a really good business and you apply for a loan or a grant, as the case may be, but you still get rejected. Why? I submitted all the documents, I did this, I did that, but I still did not get the loan. So let's start with this thought. Rejection isn't always about a bad business. I know that it's easy to take it personally when you put your tears and years into a business and then you go apply for funding and then you get rejected. As women, we get, to take some things personally sometimes. I'm a woman too, but oftentimes it's not about you personally and it's not about your business. It just might be that something about the way you present your business did not land with the funder. Okay, so those are the things that we're going to be looking through this afternoon. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed the picture on my cover slide. It was a picture of this very concerned woman entrepreneur. She's, really looking into her numbers, trying to figure things out for her business. But hopefully after this session, you would have moved from this, would have been able to move her to this very happy, confident, smiley, woman. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into it. We have many reasons, but I'm just going to share with us 5 today so that, if we fix these 5 challenges or reasons, then we'll be a bit more confident when we approach funders. Now, we need to remember that readiness is everything, just like the minister was saying. You don't have a second opportunity to make a first impression, right? So we need to go, when we have those conversations, we need to show up strong, show up ready, and make sure that we make the right first impression. Okay, so my very first challenge is a good business does not necessarily equal a fundable business. Many a time we have good business ideas and it makes sense to us, right? We think, why isn't it computing? Why are they getting it? There's something missing. It could be the way you're communicating the business. It could be that you're not so clear about your business model. It could be different things. So when there's a gap somewhere, when there's a gap between what is in your mind, what is in your head, and what the person you're speaking to or the person reviewing your application is perceiving, then there might be a challenge in getting the funding. Okay, so funders don't fund effort, they actually fund systems, right? So you're running an excellent business, but then we cannot see the business model. As a business owner, you need to be able to answer 3 critical questions. Who is paying me? Why are they paying me? And how can I do this consistently without burning out? Those are the 3 things that need to come out clearly in your application. Okay? So let's see how to solve for this challenge. The first one is, sorry, I'm getting to learn how to use this clicker. Have a clear revenue model. How do you make money? What exactly are you selling? Why would people want to buy it? Who are the people that are going to buy it? Where are they located? How are you going to reach them? So all these things need to be clear in your plan. She talked about business plans as well. I always ask the question, no matter the business you're doing, do you have a business plan? I remember having a conversation with a lady. She actually escalated the situation to the CEO of BDC, okay? And it landed with my VP and then it landed with me. And she was like, you guys are discriminatory. You already think I won't be able to pay for this loan and this and that and this and that. And I got on a call with her for almost an hour trying to understand and problem solve and all that. And at the end of the day, I asked her, do you have a plan? Like, what is the model of your business? She really couldn't answer my question. Do you have a business plan? She kept, just rigmaroling, talking around it. Do you have a business plan? And then she goes, nothing against people with disabilities. She goes, I have a cognitive disability. Can you send me an email and detail all that? I'm like, fine, I'm happy to do that. I can support you in any way that I can. And I sent the email detailing everything, almost like I was like, Google AI notes. Like everything I said, I detailed it in the email. Till I left the organization, she didn't reply me. Yeah. So she didn't have it thought out. She didn't have the business model. She didn't have the plan, right? So there's a difference between just having a business idea and having it written down, being concise, making it easy to understand. Another thing is that you need to show that your business is scalable and you're not just doing activities. Okay, you need to show that your operations can be scaled. Many a time, especially small business owners, we're just starting a small thing, and then boom, something happens. Maybe, I don't know, the demand just explodes, and then we're not able to handle it. Okay, we need to have that contingency plan. Like, if my business explodes, how am I going to scale? How am I hiring people? How am I supporting people? Right? Or getting people that will support me in the business. They need to be able to see that. Bankers need to be able to see that as well. Okay, so this is the very first challenge, and I'm very mindful of time. I think I have 30 minutes. I'll try to move it along as fast as possible. So show that there's a clear revenue model. Articulate it in your business plan. Secondly, show that your business is scalable. One thing that I've seen, especially with women entrepreneurs, is I was telling my friend just now that we love the aesthetics of our business. Okay, my Instagram page has to be pristine. The circle thing that we all have, I have to spell a certain name. When I put together an event, it has to look a certain way. We're all about how the business looks, but then when it comes to the business of the business, we're lacking in that. Okay, so that is what we need to fix. We need to fix that when you really want funding. Okay, moving along. The second one, lack of clarity. And what do I mean by this? I mean lack of financial clarity. Okay, your financials are not telling a clear story. Now, funders don't expect a perfect application or perfect story or perfect numbers, but at least they expect logic. It has to make sense, right? If you say that you're going to make $100,000 in 2026, why? Why do you think you're going to make that much money? How many units of products are you selling? At what price? And what is your profit margin? What are your expenses like? That will make sense for you to be able to make that 100,000, right? So you need to be able to tell a consistent financial story. And I'm sure Shalini has spoken about that. If you need expert, she's a CPA, I'm not, so you can go to her, regarding preparing your financial statement. So when you do your business plan, it has to make sense. And how do we solve for this? Again, logical financial story. Align your financials with how your business runs. I'll give you an example. So when I was at BDC, there was this gentleman that came to us and said, you know what, my business is a car rental business. I don't do well in the winter seasons. I do well in the spring and summer season. And he was like, so if I get a loan and you guys are trying to charge me the same principal payment all through the year, I won't be able to make it because my cash flow is like that throughout the year. Having that kind of a conversation shows that you know what is going on in your business. And you know what? The bank was able to work with him such that he didn't need to repay loans on his low months. He only repaid loans when his revenue is high or when his cash flow is high. So you need to be able to tie your operations to what is going on and tell that clear financial story when you present your financial statements. Another thing that I've seen is a lot of people do cash businesses and it's not reflected in their financial statement. So you're asking for 100,000 and the account manager is trying to do a quick calculation to see if you have available funds or cash flow to be able to fund the loan that you're asking for. But it doesn't meet up, like you're falling short. And then you go, oh, but no, but people pay me cash. But that cash is not reflected in the financial statement. So this is just like an encouragement that even if you have a cash-based business, try as much as possible to pass it through your financial app or whatever, maybe QuickBooks or whatnot, such that when you're pulling the report, it will help your accountant to be able to include that in your financial statements. 1 second, I need to drink water. You also need to be able to tie your revenue to pricing. Like I said, how do all those things connect? And when you ask for funds, you have also to be clear. Explain your numbers confidently, know your numbers, know what your top line is, know what your bottom line is. You can have, if you want to take it a level further, you want to get sexy, you can know a few ratios. You just talk to your accountant, just tell me, this ratio, just 2 ratios, and explain it to them. You're going to make a very good impression. So know your numbers, and when you're asking for funds, don't just ask for, I need $100,000. What for? Yes, for marketing. But what exactly are you going to be doing? Are you going to be spending 20,000 on social media ads, 10,000 on Google ads, and all that? And how are they going to impact your business? What is going to be the result? If I invest this $100,000 this year, I'm going to see a 20,000 increase year on year on my revenue for the next 3 years. Now that makes sense. That tells a logical financial story. Are we following? Okay, all right. Any questions so far? Okay, there you go. So one is a subset of the other, right? The business plan is the entire plan. Your revenue model will be part of your business plan. Does that make sense? So that is where you articulate what your business is about, what exactly you're selling, and maybe projections on how many units of it you think you're going to sell, or how many people you're going to serve if you're a service-based business, and how that is going to roll into your overall revenue, like on a monthly basis or on an annual basis. Oftentimes, when you do a business plan, they would ask you, a very big part of your business plan is the financial part, right? And this is where you would, list out all these things, what exactly you're going to be doing and how much, how many, and all that. So for this year, for next year, for the year after. So that would be, yes, that would be a separate segment. So the financials is always different, and then you can explain the scalability. When you're doing the financial projections, it's very important that you explain your assumptions, right? And they have to be logical. Like, why do you think you'll be able to make this business work? Right? What are the assumptions? Maybe you already have an existing business and you made 50,000 last year, and you're like, oh, I only put in maybe 50% effort last year, and I was able to do 50,000. If you give me this money and I take it, a little bit up, a notch up, then I'll be able to make 100,000 based on this research that I've done. Yeah. So when you explain things like that, even without them asking, it puts you in a better stead. Okay. All right. So, okay. So the next point I want to talk about is risks, and more importantly, unidentified and unmitigated risks. I mean, there's no business without risk. In fact, actually, the true definition of a business owner is a risk taker. So, so you cannot run a risk-free business. You're putting your life on the line if you've decided to run a business. So you coming to a banker and not identifying or showing any of those risks is a red flag, right? It doesn't mean when you identify a risk, it doesn't mean that your business is not going to work out. It's just part of how business runs. So I would encourage you, identify the risk of your business. To my example about the gentleman with the car rental business, that was a risk for him, risk to his top line. the weather was a risk for him. And he's maybe thought about how he can work around it and brought a suggestion to the bank to say, hey, how about I pay my loans only in this period? When they see that you have identified your risk and thought through it, it makes you come across as a bit more savvy. You've thought through the process, and you come across a bit more confident and more competent to be able to handle whatever financial resources they give to you. So no mention of weakness or challenges is a red flag. Overconfidence. Now we want to be confident, but we don't want to be overconfident. And lack of preparedness, is a red flag. No contingency plans, no plans if anything goes bad. I'll give you another example. Say you are running a cleaning business, maybe like a domestic or commercial cleaning, and you have cleaners working for you, right? And sometimes things happen and the cleaners cancel. You already booked a job and they're not able to show up. What is your plan when somebody cancels? Or are you like, I know my ladies, I know my guys, they never cancel, everything goes well? That's a lie, because life does happen. So having like a contingency plan, like if somebody doesn't show up, I have the backup person who maybe I pay, I don't know, $5 less or whatever because they're on call. I don't know. Just explaining how you mitigate risks in your business is a very important point. Okay. So acknowledge the risks, identify them, show mitigating strategies, and that demonstrates adaptability. Explain how you're going to be managing the risk. It demonstrates that you're taking leadership, you're taking ownership, you're adaptable in your business. Okay. Yes.
Is it considered an unmitigated risk if someone, let's say, is a caregiver for their aging parent or they have a disability? Is that something that you would recommend they disclose or not disclose?
And the question is, does it affect your business? Does it affect your availability to run your business? And if it does, what is the solution? Is there somebody else that can step in for you, right? So I think the key question is not just things going on in my life, but things going on in my life that can affect my business. So that is the risk.
Like if someone has a health condition, for example.
Yes.
You're saying if they are disclosing this is an unmitigated risk, there needs to be a plan of, if I get ill, this person will take over, or I'm on this treatment plan, like what?
No, I think that's going a bit too personal. Right. It's just, you can just, high level, like I have an assistant that when I'm not available, this person can step in for me. They don't need to be in your business. It's just, I think that's going too deep. It's just high level. Like if something comes up on my personal life, I have somebody to step in for me, period. Yeah. Okay. So, unfortunately, business owners, we ourselves can be a hindrance to why we get loans or we don't get loans approved. Okay? So you need to understand that funding decisions are deeply human, right? So funders always ask, can I trust this person that I'm giving the money to actually effectively use the money? Do they have the capability? So they are testing your credibility, right? I don't know if you've heard about the 5 C's of credit. Those are the ways in which bankers typically will do a high level assessment, and one of it is, do you have the capacity? Do you have the capacity to either run the business? Do you have the skill set to run the business? If you don't have the particular skill set, do you have a team behind you to be able to support you to run the business? Right? Do you have an accountant that you work with? Do you have a lawyer? Do you have this multidisciplinary team that is supporting your business that you can lean on? Right? So that's one. Another capacity is, do you have the capacity to repay the loan? Right? They evaluate the business. Do you have the capacity to repay the loan? They also check your credit score, your credit history. Because guess what? Wherever you are, that's where you are. Wherever you can't separate your personal life and say you're not there when you go to your business, because you are there. So the way you run your personal finances most likely is the way you're going to run your business as well. And so that's why most banks pull your credit, right? So we need, if your credit is not all that great, you need to work on that. Try to work on it before you approach a banker, or be honest about it that, you know what, I just want to establish a relationship first of all. When I get to a certain point, I can come back to you and then we can have this conversation. Okay, all right, so gaps in skills. Okay, gaps in skills, credit history. Another thing is net worth. You know, and a lot of bankers, a lot of funders would ask you to fill what they call the statement of net worth, and that is where they want to see your assets and your liabilities. And what they're trying to figure out is, if we give you $20,000 now, and then maybe 6 months down the line, you need a bit more money for the business. Do you have recourse? Like, can you find the money if nobody else, like no institution gives you the money? So they are trying to check, as an example, can you get a home equity line of credit? Do you have shares that are fungible that you can quickly convert to cash? Do you have money saved up that you can lean upon? Because what happens is, if you go 20,000 into the business and then you totally run out of funds, the business is likely to go under, right? So they try to check all these things. You also need to prove yourself. So when you fill that statement of personal funds, you need to be able to show that you have some access to cash even beyond the loan. And then if you don't have a good credit score, this is one thing that you can do to mitigate it. You can actually ask for a co-guarantor, somebody that really likes you. As an example, Dwayne can ask Gabby, to co-guarantee her loan, and then they will take an average of your credit scores, of your net worth, and then that will put you in a better stead to be able to get the loan approved. Okay, so demonstrate execution capacity. Again, if you don't have the skill, find people around you, make sure you have support. And you don't have to hire those people. You can just have them on retainership, right? So that they can support you in your business. Be on top of your credit score, I said that already, and history, okay? And then finally, number 5, I think I talked about this already. Chasing the wrong capital. I think earlier Shalini talked about the different kinds of funds that you have. I also have a sheet that like a worksheet that I give to my clients, trying to map the right fund to the right stage of business. So if you are maybe at a very small stage and you're going for a venture capital, it might not be the best. You just need to understand what stage your business is at and the best funds that aligns with where you're at now. So how do we solve for that? Match your business to the right stage of funding, right? And also approach the right people. Like I said earlier, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. We are here now, network, trying to find people that know people that can introduce you to the right people. Okay, I know that when I was at BDC, a lot of people came to me because they felt like I could relate to their challenge, and I was privileged to advocate for a lot of women entrepreneurs and advocate for a lot of Black entrepreneurs. Some people, their loans wouldn't have passed the application stage if they maybe didn't reach out to me. You can just reach out on LinkedIn. Hey, I made an application to your bank or to your institution. Do you mind, just giving me an overview on how things work, right? So meet the right people, network with the right people. Yeah, it makes a lot of difference. All right. So I know I said 5 points, but just as a bonus, and I think the minister already mentioned this as well, that we should not undersell ourselves as women. We tend to, so take this as your confirmation of what she said, okay? We tend to undersell ourselves, downplay our achievements. I was speaking with a client, well, she was a potential client at the time, now she's my client, and she was trying to pitch her business to me, tell me what she does, and all I could hear was, I feel, and I had to stop. I was like, hey, I'm hearing a lot of I feels. You are a professional. You've been in this industry for minimum of 15 years. You are very well experienced. Come with that level of confidence. From my experience, from my research, numbers show that, speak like that. Change your language. And that's one of the things I have. Lead with confidence, change your language, right? When you're talking, and also don't be shy. Ask for big numbers. One thing I experienced was that, the men, they will be like, give me as much as you can for as long as you can. But the women entrepreneurs, oh no, I only need 20,000, and you give them the $20,000. Next month they want to repay everything back. I'm like, why? Oh, I don't like owing people. Use OPM, other people's money. Use it to grow your business. We're not coming after you to repay. So we need to talk ourselves up. I would say in the morning, look in the mirror and talk to yourself like you love yourself, like you believe in what you're doing. Because if you don't do that, it will be difficult to convince somebody else to invest in your business. Okay, so that would be my bonus point. And I hope that, after we apply all these points, we would have moved from hopeful applicants to credible candidates. Okay, so clear readiness. Thank you very much. Stronger applications and confident funder conversations. So that's me. If you want to have further conversations with me, you can scan the QR code. I have it down here as well. I help businesses to get funding ready from my years of experience. If you're also starting up your business, I help businesses get off of the ground. So thank you so much for your time. Any questions before I go? Yes.
You said something about like clear use of funds, what you're using it for is marketing, what are you using marketing for?
Yes.
Since there isn't really like a direct correlation between say the ads of marketing and the revenue coming in like directly, how do you present it in a way that you can really show that this marketing you're doing is really good? Like what numbers do you show at that?
Okay, so if you're hiring like a marketer, social media expert now, they might be able to tell you the number of reach or something, and then you estimate that if I reach maybe 100 people, 50 people reach out of those 50 people, I'm able to convert, I don't know, 20 people. So those kind of assumptions, sometimes they're not necessarily facts, but the fact that you've thought through the whole process just inspires confidence in your application.